So we're going to start this evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm sure we're going to have some other people join as they head home from clinic tonight. My name is Maggie Maurer, and you are attending Aspen Dental's Ask Me Anything. I'm going to start just kind of telling you a little bit about myself before I introduce our special guest. I am an academic recruiter, and I recruit for all of District 1. So anybody that would like to speak to a recruiter at Aspen Dental, you can reach out to me. And Aspen Dental is we are the largest branded DSO in the nation. We have over 840 offices in the country. We're in 43 states currently. And we are a yes organization. And I think Doctor will be able to back me up on this. Before I came to Aspen, I was an Aspen patient for 10 years. So it was so easy for me to come to work for Aspen because I'm a huge happy customer at Aspen Dental. And one of the reasons I'm a happy customer is, a happy patient is every time I changed a job, Aspen always took my insurance. There was never a doubt in my mind that I had to look for a new dentist. So it's just been a constant in a long period of time in my life. And I just love the atmosphere at Aspen Dental. So, we say yes to your insurance. We say yes to seeing you the same day. There's just a lot of yeses that happen all throughout the day. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Kevin Oconee, who is a 2007 Boston University grad. And we have invited a majority, everybody D3 and D4 from Boston University. So I just want to take this time to give a shout out to BU. And
go Terriers, go Terriers.
Yeah, thanks for joining us tonight, Doctor. Really happy to have you here.
No, so it's a pleasure.
Great. So before we started rolling, we were touching on a few things. You're originally from Boston, and yep. You own a practice. You're a dentist partner in a practice in Vermont.
Three practices.
Three practices, a group of three practices. Yeah. And you are located in Vermont. Can you tell us a little bit about the practice that you operate out of?
Yeah, so my main office where I started in 2013 is in Williston, Vermont, and it's about 10 minutes from Burlington. So any of you guys who've been up here for some Ben & Jerry's ice cream or some of the good Cabot cheese that we all get addicted to, or ever been up to Lake Champlain, we're very, very close. This is the area where most folks in Vermont come for their retail experiences up in northern Vermont. So we have the bigger malls, the bigger stores, we have Target, we have Dick's, we have some of the bigger restaurants up here. But Vermont is essentially rural. And a fact that most people don't realize is we have more cows in Vermont than we have human beings. There are only 650,000 people who live in Vermont and over 1 million head of cattle. So everybody almost gets 2 cows per person, which blew my mind when I first moved up here, but it's true. So we have a very large practice. It's about a $3 million a year practice. We have been operating full guns since 2013, and we're still seeing upwards of 6 to 7 new patients a day. And for a practice that is as old as we are, to be seeing that many new patients a day, that's phenomenal. And that's pretty much across the board at all the Aspen locations. And that's exactly what Maggie was touching on. It's the yes culture that we are actually fostering here. So we want to make the care that people so desperately need available to people. And unfortunately, a lot of private practices don't have in-house payment plans. They don't have third-party payment plans. They don't have other options other than you either have insurance or you have a wad of cash and you're going to pay for everything before we do it. And we are able to get people care who otherwise wouldn't be able to, most people don't have an extra 10 grand they can just plop down, especially nowadays, So my great joy, coming from a community health center background, when I graduated from dental school in 2007, I was in a community health center in the middle of the Sonoran Desert in Arizona. And so I felt that it was important to kind of target the demographic of people who needed help. I had been in the CHC for a long time, and I decided I wanted to kind of walk the line between a private practice. Everyone wants to open their own practice. I want to open my own practice. So I took a job at Aspen Dental while I was looking for a job somewhere else. And here I am, 7, almost 8 years later, an owner of 3 practices, and totally bought into the culture and totally sold on the idea of the DSO, which they didn't really teach us in dental school. It was a relatively new concept back in the early 2000s. But I know even today, they don't really give much exposure to the DSO model. And I think that's a shame because as we'll talk about, through your questioning and my ranting on and on, that it really is a wonderful experience. And I teach graduates. I have new dental students all the time as my associates, and I bring them in and I give them a really intensive training experience for which they get paid. It's essentially like a paid GPR. They're up here learning surgical techniques. They're increasing their speed and efficiency in real world dentistry. They're learning how to treatment plan. They're learning how to develop their chairside manner and learning the culture that we have here in this office. So I became a partner after 3 years. I became a partner here in the Williston office. And then as of January, I became a partner in 2 more offices. Great timing, which we then had to close immediately for 4 months. And I was sweating for a while, but business is back and people are just dying to get in and really beating down the doors to just be here. So we're very blessed. This is a wonderful profession. Congratulations to you all for picking a profession that is really just going to continue to grow in the next, 15, 20 years with innovation and just this whole DSO paradigm that really wasn't explained to us or available to us when I was back when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, in dental school. So.
Yeah. Oh, you only graduated, 13 years ago, right?
Lucky 13. Yeah, lucky 13.
So those of you that are here with us, there is a Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, and you can ask questions anonymously. We won't know who they're coming from. So any questions for the doctor, just plug them into that little box at the bottom. We were talking before we started rolling also just about the influx of new patients you're having right now. And tell us about your day today. You touched on it with me. Tell us about the crazy day you had today.
Crazy good. It was crazy good. It was crazy in the best possible way. So what we did today is we did a new patient blitz. And so instead of the normal production column for my chair my whole day and my associate all day, and from the normal patient chair that we have, we just took out all the production and added all new patients because there's such a high demand for the patients to get in. So we were able to call patients at the beginning of last week, tell them, hey, we're going to open up a new patient day. We were able to get them from their scheduled appointments in November and bring them in earlier. So that's what we did today. So I saw probably about 17 or 18 new patients today, which was amazing. Some were in pain. Some were just looking for a new dentist, but all of them accepted treatment, and we're very excited to be here. We had some Invisalign starts. We do ortho now. We did a couple of same-day starts. We try to accommodate the patients, especially when they're coming in with something that we can fix that day, either a fractured tooth or an extraction if there's no infection. And we really strive to care for those patients. It's a cliche, but I like to treat everybody as if they were my family,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. We have a really good question that just came in, and we get asked this a lot as recruiters. I'm very interested in the mentorship that Aspen Dental can provide. Tell me about the mentorship that you provide your new incoming dentists.
Yeah, so it's one of my passions with Kathy Held and the International Travel Department at the BU Dental. I've taken dental students down into Guatemala. I've run 4 or 5 clinics down there with 4th-year dental students. So I love teaching. I love teaching in the field. I love teaching in the office. And what we do is we'll get recruits right out of school. They'll pick an area that they want to work in. If we're lucky enough to get them up here in Vermont, they'll come to my office. And then I'll just spend my time developing them, teaching them real-world dentistry. What's it like to take a patient from their initial visit of the treatment plan right through all of the perio that needs to be done, all of the restorative, any extractions, any fixed, any prost that needs to be done, and we take them right through till we get them to the point where they're just 6-month recall patients, you know, and it's very satisfying. And you don't really get that experience in dental school because you're seeing patients in little blocks. Patients have been patients there for 6 or 7 years. You only get them for a little snapshot of time. But now my associates get to see what it's like to develop those relationships and have patients for years and years and years. And you can take that gratification of knowing that you took a very scared, self-conscious person who was in pain and not functional and hadn't smiled in a picture in 10 years, and you brought them to the point where they're cheesing it up on Facebook and they're excited. You know, I'll never forget the first time I gave a patient their dentures and they started to cry because they hadn't seen themselves with a smile since they were 15 or 16 years old. So it's a very powerful profession that we're in. And you have to take that seriously as clinicians. You have to remember that it's a great living, you make good money, it's a great lifestyle, but man, the power that you have to change lives, never ever take that for granted. And I know it's hard for you to see that right now because of exams and clinic and 57 classes and all the stuff that you're doing. But never forget that you guys have a tremendous power in your hands and you can heal people. You can change people's lives. That's what I love. That's what gets me out of bed every morning. So I like to.
Yeah, that kind of leads into this. No, what makes Aspen unique? Everything you're talking about, you know, what is it about Aspen that's unique with everything you're talking about?
Well, you have a lot of doctors that are involved in Aspen Dental because their passion is not necessarily business, but patient care. And the DSO model allows me to focus probably 95% of my time, even though I'm an owner of 3 offices, on patient care. I got into this business because I love people and I love to help people and I like to affect change for the good in their lives. And a lot of my friends that went out of dental school and opened up their own practices, they spent 60% of their time doing human resources work, insurances work, malpractice, dealing with, you know, office issues, office problems. And with the model that we have, I'm able to be free to spend most of my time doing dentistry. And of that time doing dentistry, a lot of that time teaching my new doctors. Time that I normally wouldn't have in a private practice because I'm running everything else. And you're also going to get passionate people who are invested in the culture that Aspen fosters. And it's that yes culture. It's that belief in what we do. And that's, you know, making care available to so many people who otherwise wouldn't be able to get it. You know, it's very simple.
Yeah, and I can break it down for all of you too. Like Dr. Oconee he works for Aspen Dental. He is a practice owner. I work for Aspen Dental Management Incorporated, which is the entity of Aspen that supports all the offices. So we're bringing to the table, you know, gosh, all the business side of things, the insurance, the collections, the billing, the recruiting, the marketing. We have a massive call center in Phoenix, Arizona that's taking all the new inbound new patient calls. So all of that combined is that business side of things that's supporting the Aspen Dental offices. We have a few more people that are coming in and joining us. There's a Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. If you want to ask Dr. Kevin Oconee any questions, you just put them into that box and we'll get those answered for you. Thanks everyone for being here tonight.
And just to speak to something that you said, you know, I feel, and you know, through my experience, I feel Aspen Dental works for me, actually. You know, as owners, Aspen Dental is working to make my practice better. I don't answer to anyone at Aspen Dental. So contrary to the popular misconception, there are no people in a boardroom who aren't dentists telling me how to run my practice. I have total autonomy. I treat my patients as I see fit. I refer out when I have to. I make clinical decisions all day, every day, sometimes hundreds of them, and it's all up to me. There is nobody giving me sales quotas, sales goals. There's none of that. This is your practice. This is your day-to-day. And I have the ability to share our success in a pool. So my doctors aren't paid on production. They're paid a daily guaranteed rate, which was great when you're first out of school. It's nice to know that you have that. And then instead of focusing their time on production, how much am I going to make? They get to focus their time on becoming more skilled at what they're doing, more confident in what they're doing, and learning things that dental school, frankly, just doesn't have time to teach you. So this is what we're doing here, and this is what the DSO allows us to kind of, take it to the next level. And that's why I want all you guys to apply to my office. I want you all to come up here, and we're going to go snowboarding, and I'm going to show you the lake, and we're going to hang out, and we're going to do like a GPR situation. Oh yeah, it's going to be great. Come on up.
Great. I have a perfect question to segue into that. What do you look for when hiring new employees and dentists to join your practice?
Yeah, so I look for people who are really passionate about what we're doing, about, they're in dentistry for the right reasons. They're not in dentistry because they want to drive a BMW. They're not in dentistry because they want to take, killer vacations. Yeah, is that part of it? Great, but that shouldn't be the reason why you get up every day. If you do right by the patient and you want to do right by the patient, all the other stuff that comes along with the business, the metrics, the amount of money you're going to make a month, all of the things that come along with a successful practice, those are just going to happen. If you're doing right by each and every patient, each and every day, everything else will follow. And that's my motto. Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. I have a 2021 asking a really great question. Do we have offices in the South, West, Midwest? So we are in 43 states currently. We have over 840 offices across the country. So we're not only in New England. To start the process in finding an Aspen office for you to work at, you can connect with me. I can start the conversation with you, and we can find out, what part of the country you want to be in.
Northeast is definitely
Northeast is definitely the best place to be. Yeah, and this dental student is also asking, how do I find a good mentor like you, doctor?
So yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Not all owners have the same mentality that I do. So as much as you're being interviewed when you go into a practice, you need to interview that practice as well. You need to find out if they're the type of person that you want to guide you through those first formative years out of dental school. Ask any dentist, it'll tell you it takes you at least 5 years out of dental school to become proficient and confident and comfortable in dentistry. I'm still learning every day. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm still learning things. So you need to find somebody that is aligned with your goals, with what you see for yourself. Do you have a passion for oral surgery? Well, if you have a passion for oral surgery, find a doctor like myself, who I basically do oral surgery all day long. I do full mouth extractions. We make the dentures right here. We bring people from, a devastated dentition right through to a smile that is not only making them healthy, but it's, fulfilling a part of their lives that's been missing for a long time. So you have to be very selective as well. Will you always find a doctor like that in every single Aspen Dental? Absolutely not. But if you ask the right questions and you follow your instincts, you'll find that match. And people like Maggie, ADMI, once again, has this huge support system, even before you work for us and with us, to help get you a match. Because I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who want to grow, who want to become clinical directors, and who eventually want to become partners with me in my business. So we're looking for lifers. We're looking for people who want a career. Does it always work out that way? No, especially with dental students who are coming right out of school. They try the DSO, and they get a little curious about the private practice. And some of them go out and they'll join a private practice. A lot of them will come back after a few years, some of them don't, I want to be very honest, but most of my associates that have left because the grass was greener on the other side have come back 6, 8, 12 months later saying, hey, doc, you still got that opening that I had before? And I'll always take them back, because I will never begrudge someone going out and exploring, all the options. But I want to make sure that the DSO is on the table for you guys, that you're aware of it, that you can at least start the dialogue. And, you know, all this negative press that DSOs got in the late 90s and early 2000s where, oh, corporations run it and they're going to tell you how to do dentistry and they're going to tell you what to do. And no. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't happen. They set the guidelines. They do a lot of the grunt work for me, and they allow me to be a dentist. And I love that. And that's why I'm still here, you know, 7-8 years later with 3 practices and looking to open a couple more in the next year or 2. It's the real deal.
It is the real deal. So I
It's
have
the
a
real
question
deal.
here. What would you say is the biggest adjustment from an FQHC setting to the Aspen culture?
Going
Great
from
question.
seeing 4 to 5, going from seeing 4 to 5 patients a day to seeing 4 to 5 patients in an hour and a half. You're going to be busy. You're going to make great money, but you're going to earn every penny. And I'm going to teach you how to work 3 chairs at a time. I'm going to teach you how to numb someone for an oral surgery while you're going to do a denture step on someone else, while you're getting ready to do a new patient. If I went back to a community health center, I would lose my mind. Because I remember when I was in the middle of the Sonoran Desert working at a little community health center about 25 miles north of the Mexican border, some days I'd see 4 patients, 3 patients. I could never go back to that now. Never. Never. So that's the biggest adjustment. And also our ability to get the third party financing. So we're actually able to do procedures in a community health center facility. Normally you're not doing endo, you're doing extractions. You're not doing crowns, you're doing, you know, big bulky fillings, hoping that the people will be able to get a few more years out of it. It's called herodontics. You're doing a lot of herodontics for people. Your heart's in the right place and you're trying to give them something to get them through. But at Aspen Dental, you know, we're able to offer all of the ideal treatment plans to people because we make it more affordable for them to be able to actually get the treatment that in a perfect world they should be getting. We do implants, we do endo, I do all on 4s, all on 5s. We do implant supported dentures. We do immediate standard dentures. We do, you name it, we do it. We do crown and bridge. I'm very excited. I just found out we're going to be getting into laser printed dentures, laser dentistry, which is going to be really cool. So that's in the next 3 or 4 years, that's going to become a standard. So we have our own labs here. So you're going to learn a lot about setting teeth. You'll never have to set teeth again. You'll be happy to. I still have 3rd-degree burns on my fingers from setting teeth in the SLC. In the lab. So you don't have to do that. We have our own techs. They're top of the line. They go through their own training programs. They set the teeth. They do all the denture steps. They make the wax rims. They fabricate the dentures. It's all done right here. So we have an incredibly fast turnaround, and you will learn to have that lab tech become your right-hand person. And they will teach you a lot about dentures. I'll teach you a lot about dentures. Come join me in Vermont.
So every Aspen Dental office has a denture lab with a denture lab tech. Let's talk a little bit more about the other technology that is in your office. You have an iTero scanner.
So we just made the big investment last fall to get an iTero scanner, which is a 3D scanner, intraoral scanner. It's amazing. It's like Star Trek technology. You show it to the patients and they're just like, I leave the room sometimes and I see them like taking pictures of the scans and touching the screen. I like to catch them touching the screen, and then I come around there and I'm like, hey, don't touch that. And they freak out. But then we have a good laugh because they're trying to touch it, and they're trying to rotate it, and they're trying to move it around. But it's also not only being a great diagnostic tool, because you can be like, oh, you have an old amalgam in this molar, and you're getting a fracture in this molar. You need a crown. So I can zoom in right on that tooth, the picture of that tooth in real time, rotate it, expand it, contract it, upside down, right side up, and I can show them that fracture, and I say, you need a crown, and they're like, oh yes, I need a crown because this tooth is going to fracture. So it's great for patient education, and it's also great for Invisalign. We're able to do Invisalign. I'm certified in Invisalign. I think you guys are too, through school, through BU. We no longer have to take those messy impressions for the Invisalign cases. We just do the intraoral scan. Everything is done digitally, and it's just great state-of-the-art technology. Aspen is very tech forward. We're really constantly pushing the boundaries. And like I said, We're scanning crowns, we're scanning bridges, we're scanning frameworks for partials. So it's really moving into the digital age. Dentistry kind of goes kicking and screaming, especially when I'm using wax and a torch. I'm like, what is this? Like 1850, we're still doing the same things. So we're really starting to move forward. And when I found out we were going to start doing the digitally laser cut, laser printed dentures, it's really exciting stuff. So
would
all about technology.
Here's a great question. Would a new associate dentist have full control over what cases they are working on? So treatment planning, how much control does a new associate dentist have with their treatment plan?
So a new associate dentist for 6 months, they're pretty much under my wing. So I am teaching you how to treatment plan. I'm selecting cases for you. If you're great at operative and you're fantastic at operative and you want to go do a ton of operative, I'll give it to you. Awesome, go do it. And then once you master that, once you show me that you have the confidence and the ability to be efficient and you have a good chair-side manner and you're great at what you're doing, then we can move you on to, hey, let's add a little crown and bridge in there. Let's add some oral surgery in there. Let's do some simple extractions. Come in with me in a full mouth case, fairly periodontally involved. Come on in, watch me get them numb, take notes of my technique. And then the next time I'll have you do it. I'll be right there with you. I want them to push themselves. And, 5 or 6 times this week, I've had to go into extractions because there's been a broken root. So I go in and it's a teaching opportunity. I show them how to remove the root. I teach them to not be afraid of the drill, and I show them how to suture. I show them how to take the patient safely and comfortably through the whole procedure. So, and they love it. They absolutely love it. I show them techniques that they're like, oh, wow, that was so much easier. Or they look at me and say, wow, that's an incredible instrument. I wish we had that in school. And so it's very gratifying. Yeah.
Nice. So how does it work to partner at multiple offices with Aspen? Do you go to one office a day or something along those lines? How does it work to be in ownership of 3 offices?
So that's a great question. So the Williston office is my main office, and I'm the managing clinical director here. I'm the director of everything. So everything goes through me, whether it's front end or clinic or lab. But what I was doing pre-COVID was I was spending a few days a month at the other satellite offices. So helping to develop the doctors there, working with them, and basically doing the same thing I do there, but just to a lesser extent, because I have managing clinical directors in the other offices. So their role is to run the clinic in those offices, and I'll come in and I'll do some of the harder cases, or help them to they'll give me a column of big surgeries. I can do full mouths. I can do things that they're maybe not comfortable with. Maybe they want me to go over with them a little bit more. So that's how we work it. And we're going to start going back to that, but still travel between offices is a little tricky right now. So we're doing everything remotely. But I talk to my docs at least once a day. They call me, they text me, they show me cases. My iPhone, I always have my phone with me, because they're always sending me panos, or they're sending me PAs, or they're asking me clinical questions. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Plus you get to go to a different office and you get to work with a different bunch of people, and yeah, very enjoyable.
So here's another question just about the office you're in. How many operatories are in the office that you are in Vermont?
So we have a huge office. We have this is the biggest of the offices in the whole region. So we've got 12 operatories here.
Wow.
That's including a surgical suite, 2 hygiene, and we actually have the ability to have 2 more, which we're working on right now. We have 2 areas that are kind of storage right now, but they're plumbed and ready, and I just put in an order to get another chair, so we're going to get one of those up and running, because I've got 2 associates here, so there's 3 doctor days. It's busy. 3 doctors, 2 hygienists. There's a lot going on.
So you mentioned that you do a lot of your own oral surgery. Do you have a specialist oral surgeon, endodontist that supports your office?
Yep, that's a great question too. Yes, so we have a traveling oral surgeon who works between 3 or 4 offices in the northern Vermont and New York area. He's been doing it for about 40 years. He's fantastic. He is one of the greatest guys I've ever worked with in my life. He knows more about oral surgery, than I'll ever know. And he's just glad to share. He teaches me when he's here sometimes, if he's got a particularly interesting case or he's doing a dilacerated impacted molar, he'll have me come in and he'll show me his techniques. But we can rely on him to come in for patients who want to use general sedation. A lot of people just want to be put to sleep for a lot of these procedures. So he'll come in and he'll do those procedures for us. And it's up to myself and the patient to determine, number one, whether they're a good candidate for it, and number two, whether it's something that they really need. A lot of patients will come in and say they want to be put to sleep, and then they'll go up front and they'll find out how much the procedure is, and be like, maybe we can work something else out. So this is when I can come out and say, listen, I'll be happy to do it for you. We'll do local. We'll get you some Valium. You have someone drive you to and from the appointment. And they love it. And they save themselves $5,000 or $6,000. They get the procedure done. They're very happy. And it's very gratifying to me to be able to, help someone who's very nervous, who's, digging their nails into the chair at first. And then all of a sudden they calm down. They realize this injections are the hardest part. And we take them through the surgery, we take them through the healing process, right through from their immediate denture to their final denture 6 months later. And we have a lot of success. We have a lot of great stories about people that we've literally changed their lives. Some patients come back 5 or 6 weeks after surgery, and I don't even recognize them because their faces are so much healthier. They've got their color back. They don't have bags under their eyes because they can finally sleep. They're eating. They're more comfortable. And we're talking years. We're talking people living like this for 20 years. Mm-hmm. So it's huge. And when you do that for someone, you get a friend for life.
Right.
It's like when the mouse pulled the thorn out of the lion's paw. They are your friend for life. Yeah.
So you mentioned because of COVID, your offices were closed. Very stressful time. 4 months, you said? It was.
Yes. Yeah. So 2 of my 3 offices were closed. Williston was open. I was working just myself, 2 dental assistants, and 1 front office person for emergencies 2 days a week. And then I was doing the teledentistry 3 days a week. Within about 3 weeks of COVID, the closings, Aspen had already implemented and distributed laptops to all the doctors who were going to stay open and had created the infrastructure to make teledentistry. Teledentistry for Aspen was not a thing prior to COVID. And instantly it was a thing. Like I had all of those people working for me and they sent me a computer and they showed me how to do it. And I was able to I was seeing on the 2 days that I was open, I was seeing 20 to 25 emergency patients, getting them in, getting them out of pain, getting them prescriptions, getting them, these big massive swellings that they were having, broken teeth, sedative fillings, things that needed endo. We were able to do, things to get people out of pain. And it was great. They would have ended up in the emergency room. And that was the last place people wanted to be during the pandemic. So it was amazing to see how quickly ADMI, Aspen Dental, was able to come together and make that a thing. The same thing with the PPP loans. They helped us stay afloat. I had friends in private practice that are no longer in private practice because they couldn't stay open. I had a whole team of lawyers, of advocates, of counselors in the Aspen team doing all of this for me, allowing me to keep my staff, allowing me to pay my people. Every single one of my furloughed employees came back as soon as we opened our doors. And that really spoke to their loyalty and to their appreciation for what we were able to do. I had a couple of employees that I paid them out of my own pocket because they couldn't survive. And because I care about them. These people are my family. I spend more time with the folks in this office than I do with anybody else in my personal life. So it's a family. And this is the culture that I foster and that ADMI fosters. It's not a cliche. It's not just lip service. It's, like I said, it's the real deal. It really is. We're here for each other. We're here for the patients. We're here for each other. And when I tell you I work with 17 of the most amazing people, and to have a crew of 17 people and have zero drama in the office, it's an impressive feat. Took a while to get there, but there's no drama because everybody works as a cohesive unit. So I really hope you consider, the DSO option and coming up to Vermont. If any of you guys are local, you want to come up for a weekend, you want to come up and see the office, you want to shadow for a couple of days once you're done with your rotations and you get boards under your belt, come on up. We'll organize it. We'll go out to dinner. We'll show you the office. We'll get crazy up here in northern Vermont. It'd be great to give you a tour and to really get you to meet some of the people and see the area.
Yeah, shadowing an office is a great opportunity to, soak in an Aspen Dental day in the life of Aspen Dental. I'm currently setting up a lot of shadow days for 2021, so reach out to me if that's something that's of interest to you.
Open invite for sure.
We have a great question that just came in, Doc. What is the patient demographic like in Vermont? Do we see a mix of cases?
So great question. We have everybody up here. So we have uninsured, we have moderately insured, we have well insured, we have self-pay, we have fee for service, we have, you name it, we have it. The only things that we don't work with are the state insurances. So the Medicare and the Medicaid we don't work with, but there are patients who come in and they have the Medicare and the Medicaid. We can always set them up on payment plans. I even do, don't tell anybody this, but I'll do, like, for certain cases, I'll do an in-house payment plan. I had this really nice lady. She reminded me of my grandmother. She needed dentures. She wasn't able to afford them. She's paying me $20 a week until her dentures are paid off, like in 2025. But as an owner, I have the ability to do that. I can do a free case. I like to treat the vets. We do a Veterans Day of Service every year. We weren't able to do it this year because of the pandemic, but we see 12 to 15 vets, and I get to pick 2 or 3 of them, and I've done full mouth extractions, full dentures for these people, and they're friends for life. They still come back and visit me. They bring me pictures of them when they were in Vietnam. They bring me mementos. I got a guy who wore his flak jacket to the office one day and let me try it on. I get World War II veterans. That's something that'll give you the chills. Yeah. I worked with someone who was at the Battle of Midway, and we were talking, and they just light up when you ask them about their experience, and it's still so fresh for them that I've had them start to get emotional, and when they talk about it, and they come back to me later and they thank me, and they're like, no one ever asked me about this stuff, and they're a huge population that really just needs help. So as an owner, I can help them. I can do whatever I basically want, and no one is telling me I can't do it. Mm-hmm. So it's incredible. What you make of it.
So many of you listening, you may have seen the picture of Dr. Coney with the 3 boys. I asked him about it earlier today, and
not my kids.
They're not his children. So can you touch on that incredible story?
Yeah, those 3 little guys were my bodyguards when I went on an Aspen sponsored trip to Argentina to do some dental missions down there and work with some extremely underrepresented people, folks who their home was actually a dump. They lived in the dump, right at the base of the Andes Mountains, gorgeous, but these people were the poorest of the poor. Their houses were literally made of corrugated metal and wood and cardboard, and their children would go out and collect glass and plastic in the dump and bring them back at the end of the day, and then they'd turn these into the big recycling companies that were down there, and it was eye-opening. It was an eye-opening experience. These people were incredible. We did so many extractions. We did so many molar extractions on these folks, and they were so appreciative because they don't have dental care. They don't have much medical care. They live in extremely caustic conditions, the fires in the dump that are constantly burning their eyes, burning their throats, rampant dental decay, huge amounts of respiratory illness. And they were the nicest, kindest people that I've ever met in my entire life. And so appreciative and so happy we were there. And it was just a blessing to be able to go. And it's part of Aspen's real deal mentality. It's the real deal. They paid for me to go down there with this huge team of dentists and work on these people. They organized everything. All I had to do was show up and do dentistry.
Mhm.
And it was amazing. And I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah. It's so incredible. And it is a big part of Aspen's culture, you know, patient care, giving back, treating the veterans on Veterans Day. I have a great question here about CE. Does Aspen Dental offer continuing education?
Oh my God, does Aspen Dental offer continuing education? We've got an entire section of our website dedicated just to CE. You can take as many as you want. We're required to get X amount of CEs every 3 years to get our licenses renewed, and I get all of mine virtually through Aspen Dental. They're fantastic classes, great lectures. You take a little exam at the end. There are also, we're doing one this weekend on implants, and it's going to be taught virtually, and the didactic portion, and then there's actually going to be a hands-on portion once you finish the first 3 modules of the virtual stuff. In December, there's going to be a hands-on class. So we just got cone beam scanner, so I'm very excited. So we can do the 3D digital scans right here in the office as well. The complete Ceph, and it's amazing. So heavy on the CE. Take as much as you want. We'll also pay for CE classes if you want to take a hands-on, if that ever becomes a thing. You know, if you want to go take a Sibrin Dental Endo course for 2 or 3 days, we'll give you the time off. We'll help you finance it, and it's something we want you to do. It's a lifetime learning thing, because you're going to bring that knowledge back, and you're going to be able to enhance the practice with your new skills. So whenever my associates come in,
you know, it's free for everybody in the dental profession right now. Our CE. You know that?
I actually was going to mention that. Yes.
Yeah.
Anybody from the beginning of COVID, you can go on and you can get CEs, and it's a great opportunity. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All you need to do is go to aspendentalce.com/welcome, and it's going to be offered free to every dental professional through March of next year. So we did extend it. So definitely check it out.
Deal.
Real deal.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I have a question here. What your decision-making process in moving to Vermont? How did you choose to move to Vermont with Aspen Dental?
Well, I had the National Health Service Corps scholarship through BU. So I had 4 years paid for, and the only thing that I had to do was I had to go to an underrepresented area for 4 years after I graduated. So I had never been to the Southwest before. I'd always wanted to go to the Southwest. So it was February here in Boston, and I got off the plane in Arizona, and it was 72, 73 degrees. I rented a Jeep. I drove through the desert to this little community health center, and I just fell in love with it. Cactus everywhere. It looked like a Roadrunner cartoon. Cactus everywhere, mountains. It was gorgeous. So I signed up with them for 4 years, and I loved it. But I'm a New Englander. I'm, I've got the snow and ice in my blood. I've got the salt water in my veins. I miss the sound of leaves blowing in the wind in the trees. It's 120 degrees for 4 months out there in the summertime, so it's a little rough. I miss the color green. First thing I did when I moved back to Vermont was lay down on my front lawn and roll around in the grass, because I hadn't seen grass in 4 years. So you don't appreciate what you have until you don't have it anymore. And I really I miss the seasons. I miss the snow. I miss the fall. Right now is the most beautiful time of year up here. People, before COVID, pre-COVID, used to come from all over the world to come up here and see the leaves change. Ski season's beautiful. Summers are gorgeous. My family is in Boston. They're about 3 hours away, so I can go down and see them, whenever possible. But I just love it up here. It's beautiful.
So the process of becoming an owner, a partner in those 3 practices, how long did that take once you joined us?
A little over 3 years. A little over 3 years. So you got to pay your dues. You got to move up through the ranks. You got to show that you've got the stuff that you need to become an owner. You have to be bought into the culture. You have to have the drive. You have to have the desire. And if you have the drive and you have the desire, there's no stopping you. There's no stopping you. Aspen wants you to own these practices. Aspen wants you to further the brand and further the great work we do here with your own great work and your own, so as an owner, I get to create the atmosphere in the office. I get to set the tone for how we are in the offices, and you'll get to do that. It's very powerful when people come in and say, I've never been into a dental practice like this before. Everyone's smiling, everyone's having a good time, everybody's very thorough, everybody's really caring, I didn't feel judged, I was afraid to come into the dentist for years. We set the tone, and you'll be able to do that. So it took me about 3 years. Some people are faster, some people are slower. You can go at your own pace. You'd come in as an associate right out of school, and would want you to be an associate for a year or two just to kind of get going. And then if an opportunity came for you to get your own office, we'd make you a managing clinical director. So it's the MCD position. You make more money, you have more responsibility. And then after you're an MCD for a little while and you kind of prove yourself and you prove that you can grow the business and you're an asset to the group, then I look at you and I say, hey, why don't you become a partner with me in this office? And there's a partner buy-in, and then you start to earn profits from offices that you don't necessarily even work in on a daily basis, because you own a piece of that office. So it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
Yeah. So a good segue, and I'm just going to preempt this. Anyone who's on this evening, feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to be in contact with you after this webinar, but you can start the conversation. It's never too soon to start the conversation about your future. If you're a 2022, it's okay. Start that conversation. You can get the wheels turning for sure.
Yeah.
And the question I have is, what advice would you give, D3s, D4s in how they, choose to move forward in their search?
Don't rule anything out. Keep an open mind, and don't let anybody tell you what something is. I want you to experience it. Ask questions, experience it firsthand, and make up your own mind. Don't listen to people who don't really know anything about the DSOs. I'm on LinkedIn, and I have people who are on LinkedIn and they're like, oh, DSOs are terrible. DSOs are so bad. I'm like, how much experience do you have with the DSO? And they're like, well, none, but I knew a guy once who had a guy who was in a DSO, and there were people in suits telling him what to do. And I'm like, you're full of it, dude. You have no idea. That is completely not what we do here. So make your own decisions. You may decide you don't like it or it's not for you, and that's perfectly valid, but you made that decision. You have so many people making so many decisions for you through college, through dental school, through your Apex rotations, through your externships. You're essentially doing all this dentistry for free for people. You're finally going to get the chance to do things and reap the benefits yourself. And you're really going to have to just go in with an open mind and realize that the world is your oyster. You guys have done it. You guys have got the education behind you. Dental school is tough. That's why not everybody is a dentist. It's tough. Make your own decisions, experience things, take time, come up here and visit me, talk to Maggie or one of the other folks at ADMI. You guys can have my contact information if you ever want to give me a call or shoot me a text. Even if you don't end up working with us, always glad to mentor you, always glad to give you advice. I have a lot of gray hairs that I've earned, so you guys can, benefit from my wisdom. Always happy to help. We're all in this profession together. It's tough, and I have just tremendous respect for all of you for kind of doing what you're doing. And it's going to be an exciting adventure for you in the next couple of years, but don't rule anything out.
Yeah, and I think you touched in the beginning, and I say this to everyone I speak with, is be sure you're interviewing the doctor, the practice owner, whoever it is that you are in front of, possibly working for. You're interviewing just as much as they're interviewing you.
Yeah. This is your time to start crafting your future. This is, you really have a hand in it now. You don't have to rely on someone grading a paper or, telling you your technique isn't good, or this is your time to take control of your life. An exciting time. Yeah, I'm a little jealous, actually.
Except you did say, what was it? You you'd need $10 million to go back to dental school?
I would not go back to dental school for anything less than $10 million. Yes, absolutely. $5 million up front.
That's great.
Boy.
Hilarious. Well, we are so glad all of you joined us tonight. We are giving away a $100 Amazon gift card. So drum roll, everybody.
Very exciting,
Doc,
very exciting.
Doc, I want
Yes.
you to pick a number between 1 and 26.
Between 1 and 26. Let's see. How about 23?
Ooh, I hope I'm saying this name right. Ashna Kira. So is it Ashna? Ashna, you are the winner of our Amazon gift card.
I saw Ashna in the chat box. Yes, congratulations, Ashna.
Congratulations.
Where that came from. Come on up to Vermont. We'll talk.
I will be following up in an email with that $100 Amazon gift card. And all of you that joined us tonight, I will also follow up with an email, and I will get you Doc's contact information. Way you can.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, so Doctor, we really appreciate you joining us tonight. All of
my
you,
pleasure. Absolutely.
we have all Boston University students on this webinar. So go be you, and everybody have a great night.
Tell Dr. McManama I said hi, and I still think about his lectures whenever I sit down to do a filling. Every single time. He's like Obi-Wan Kenobi in my ear. He's amazing. He's amazing. And tell Dr. Brown that I said hi. And you guys are going to do great. Don't be hesitant to reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Good luck with everything, guys.
Great. Have a nice night, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.